Good morning, traders. Welcome to this week's Elliott Wave Forex and Cryptocurrency Market Analysis webinar. I hope you all had a wonderful week. Welcome to another edition of Trading Waves, where we use the Elliott Wave principle to forecast the market. Let's get started. What we're going to start with today, we're going to start with trade recaps of the last week and see how the market played out, and also forecast for the next week. So if you would like to contact us, you can do so by going under the description of all our videos on our channel. So if you just go to the channel and click any of the videos, you'll find our contact details. So that will be under the description of each and every video. On the contact details, you also find the link to our website. And if you want to make any inquiry regarding to our services, you can use this global chart here. This is usually attended all the time, so you can just make an inquiry there and we will respond there. So let's get started with this week's analysis. As I said, we'll start with trade recaps from the last week. Let's start. Last week we have discussed pound CAD. So we've looked at pound CAD before. Let's have a look at what we focused here on pound CAD. So this was the week before. This is actually not the last week, but this is the forecast that we had from the last week. Now, this is just amazing how how the market follows the Elliott wave structure. So look at what we were looking at here. We were looking for this to continue pushing to give us a corrective structure here, to push to the upside around 74, 75, and then the drop. Now, as I keep saying, the difference between Elliott wave theory and other methods is that we are able to forecast 4 hours ahead, a day ahead, a week, even years ahead, decades ahead. Okay, so this is what we are we're looking for in pound CAD. So just look at how amazing this was. We looked for this correction, we looked for this to push to the upside, and now we are here. All these moves that I've just drafted here on yellow have already played out. Now let's see how that has played out. As you can see here, this is pound CAD. You will also see this in the next few slides coming up. So as you can see here, this is pound CAD. This is before the drop. Okay, so we've had that corrective structure. That was the corrective structure that we were showing here. We're looking for this to continue pushing to the upside around 76 and continue to the upside. So that was the update, and this is how it has eventually played out. Okay, let's have a look at this. As you can see here, you will see on the next slides how that has eventually played out. So I just want you to see the first few moves on pound CAD. So for now, just remember these two moves here, the move here, the move to the upside here, and then here. We are currently around these levels here on pound CAD, and we're still looking for more downside. Okay, so last week we also looked at US dollar yen. US dollar yen, we looked for this to give us a 3-wave structure and push to the upside, and you'll also see that as we go on in the next coming few slides. So this is where we are currently. That was the update from the last week. So I want to go to the latest charts. Okay, EURCAD from the last week, we focused that it was going to push to the upside and come back down. Exactly, that is how that has played out. Okay, as you can see, we made a move to the upside, and then we have dropped here. This is the update showing that we're going to continue to the upside, and you will see as we come to the downside as well. All right, so this is where we are. We push to the upside on EURCAD, push down, and we're still looking for continuation to the downside. All right, now let's see here. This is where we are here on EURCAD. I want to get to this week. Now, this was this week. I wanted to see pound CAD this week, pull back upside and downside. Let's see here. Now, this is the latest update on pound CAD. So that was the forecast. We wanted the corrective structure. We got it. That was an entry for more upside. And now we are already dropping from 75 to around 72, already dropped over 400 pips from 75 to about 71 here on pound CAD. Where are we now currently with pound CAD? We are currently making a pullback here. It is not going to go down in a straight line. We're going to expect a bit of a pullback here, corrective structure here coming to the downside. Now, how did we get this right? We're simply looking for this to be a 3-wave structure, as we have got it here. That is the 3-wave structure that we've got, and that is why we've got that to the downside. As you can see, the structure and the as well as the sequence was inch perfect. That's why we got this one right. Okay, so that is a pound CAD. US dollar CAD, look at that. So we have had we've discussed this one last week as well, that we are making a push to the upside, but that push to the upside may be corrective. And as you've seen here, we have pushed to the upside up to 27.50 on US dollar CAD, and we are now currently making a move to the downside, as you can see. That is how we forecasted that into the blue box coming down here. We are currently here on USD CAD. It's not just going to go down in a straight line. Wait for a bit of a corrective structure here. Could pull back to around these levels before continuing to the downside. So that is a EURCAD. Pound yen, blue box area, three-wave structure. You'll see a number of these when we go to the yen pairs. All the yen pairs have been playing out from the blue box. Look at that forecast. We're looking for this to push to the upside into the blue box before it happened, and this is how it has happened afterwards. So we are currently up here with the move here. So are we going to continue to the upside? We'll see now when we start with the market analysis. We'll be looking for this, but I'll show you what we're expecting from here. That is a pound yen, US rather CAD yen. CAD yen WXY structure into the blue box, expected a move to the upside. How does that play out? The inch perfect, we've got that move to the upside. Now we're still expecting continuation to the upside. Does that continue to the upside? We'll see that as we do the market analysis shortly. That is the yen pairs, Brent crude from the blue box. So this has invalidated the guidelines slightly, in that the Y leg was slightly longer than the W, but it had the right look, so we accepted this one, and then this is how it has played out from the blue box. Traded slightly lower into the blue box, then, but now we have got this one pushing to the upside, and we expect this to continue pushing to the upside. Oil up has an implication on the CAD pairs, so you'll see as we do the yen pairs shortly. So there was oil. Now this is one of the trades we've got in the week. That is a EURAUD, a very good trade with a simple three-wave pullback here, giving us an entry here and looking for more upside here. EURAUD, what a very nice trade with that we got here from around here, pushing to the upside here. Are we going to go to the downside now? We'll still see that as we do the market analysis in a bit. Now this is pound AUD. Pound AUD is just going up slowly. We've got this one from around the 6th of July. If you remember this setup, we're still pushing to the upside. We are pushing up higher slowly. You'll see the structure. Why we're expecting that to continue to the upside is because we've got this three-wave structure in green here. We're expecting the green to complete around the C wave here. We've got A, B, and we're looking for this one here. We could even make a case for this one to be a running flat here, but we are still continuing to the upside. The indicator is still showing us that we're still going to push a little bit higher, but eventually we are going to start seeing a pullback here or a reversal of that trend. Okay, so that is pound AUD. Now for the rest of the pairs, you will see them as on the website, how we focused them in the week. I'm not going to go through all of them. You'll see them as we start with the analysis in a bit. Let us start with the DXY as well as the Euro. Okay, so DXY, let's remind you of the structure that we've been looking at on the DXY. So the DXY, we're looking at this to be a three-wave structure. Let me get the yellow color. Okay, we're starting with the analysis for the next week now. So this is the DXY. We're looking at this as a three-wave structure, and we're looking for this to make another three-wave structure. Are we still going to get that? That is still the expectation. That will make a double correction here as follows. Okay, so this is the reason why we've been expecting this to make a pullback here. So we've got this as a WXY here. I've shown this a couple of times. This is an ABC corrective structure with an ending diagonal here. I'm not going to go through the detail of the internals of this diagonal, but that is an ABC structure there. You have got here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That will be ABC here. We'll be looking for that. Okay, so as far as the DXY is concerned, we are looking for this to give us a three-wave pullback. This pullback can come back to about the 38–50% of the original move here. As you can see here, if I had to go into more detail, you'll see that we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here to the upside, ending with an ending diagonal here, but I don't want to go into that much detail. So if we get the pullback to about 38, we're going to get another leg to the upside to complete the whole structure here on the DXY. Do we get that pullback on the DXY? Let's watch this for the next coming week. Obviously, if the DXY is, we're expecting a pullback on the DXY, we'll expect the similar on Euro US dollar. It's an inverse. Let's have a look at Euro US dollar on the 4-hour. So Euro US dollar, you can see the exact same structure here. We've got three waves to the downside, 1, 2, 3, three waves to the upside, 1, 2, 3, and we've got this one one, do we get a pullback here similar to what we're expecting on the DXY? Similar structure, as you can see here, we have got ABC corrective structure here, looking at this as an ending diagonal here, that is a C wave here. So we will have this being a bigger WXY corrective structure here. So internally here, this should actually be ABC here, just for completeness. So you can see this is now about to play out ABC corrective structure here, rather incorrect, WXY corrective structure here. Okay, A, B, C there. I need to correct here. This will be the green degree here. So let's make that green. So that will be ABC. ABC, as you can see here. Right, so the bigger structure, what are we looking here for here on the bigger structure? We're looking for a three-wave structure in green here. That is what we're looking for. And if I had to make this complete, you'll see that this will be a wave 1, 2, 3, 3, 4, and 5. Slight error there, slight error. Let me just fix that quickly. Slight error, so that will be ABC there. That is ABC. Right, so that's what we've got there. So any pullback on the euro US dollar, that will result in a move to complete to the downside, then we'll look for this to the upside. These are the structures. That's as detailed as it gets on these structures. All right, so let's see what we get in the next coming sessions. All right, so pound US dollar. So pound US dollar, I just have to show you, you need to see where the forecast came from. We have been looking for a similar structure since this bigger corrective structure has been playing out. So let's have a look here on pound US dollar. So if you look at pound US dollar, we have looked at this structure here. This is not now in hindsight. We are pulling back with this move to the upside. Are we going to push to the upside? It looks like a pound is on its way now to the upside. We need to get an entry here. It has reversed from blue box. This was our forecast on pound. Let's before we look at that, let's have a look at the forecast first. So on the 4-hour pound US dollar, we have been looking for this to come into the blue box and push to the upside. As you can see, we are already in the blue box. We've already made the reversal. Now we're expecting to get an entry here. Okay, so the only thing that we don't show here in this webinar, we're showing you the structure and direction, but we don't show you when to enter, because that will be giving you trading advice. So what we're doing here is showing you market direction according to our strategy, but as far as where to enter, what trades to take, that you must be your own decision. That is what we give to our members. All right, so that is pound US dollar. You can see we've gone into the blue box. We're going to be looking for an entry here, and then we're going to look for continuation to the upside. All right, so let's go back to pound US dollar. So we are here on the 4-hour. We'll be looking for a confirmation here for continuation to the upside. All right, so that is pound US dollar. Let's look at US dollar CHF. Let's go to US dollar CHF. US dollar CHF on the 4-hour. So we are still looking for US dollar CHF to give us this pullback. This is what we expected last week as well. We're looking for this to continue to the upside. If euro US dollar start pulling to the upside, we are going to get this one pushing to the downside and continuing to the upside like that. Okay, so let's see what we get here on US dollar CHF. So we're expecting US dollar CHF to give us a bit of a pull to the downside, continuation to the downside. Let's have a look at the current structure on US dollar CHF. This is where we are. This is the expectation. So a push to the upside, a pull back to the upside on the euro will result in this one giving us this one more down. But where are we currently with this structure? Let's have a look at a bit more detail. Without doing the labelings here, you can see that this is 5 waves to the downside. We are making a move here in what looks like a 3-wave structure here. This is 1, this is 2. We can push to the upside here with the US dollar CHF. We're not going to drop just like that. This looks too easy. So we may push a little bit higher and then get this move to the downside on US dollar CHF. Okay, so let's see what we get here. That is the structure that we're going to be looking for there. US dollar CAD, you've already seen this one during trade recaps, the forecast to reverse around the blue box area. Let's go back to US dollar CAD. Let's go back to US dollar CAD there. Right, so just don't forget the crypto webinar, or rather the crypto video is right on the website, so you can look out for it on the channel. right? That is a US dollar chief. Go back one. Right, let's go to US dollar CAD. So you've already seen this one here. We are focusing this one to push into the blue box and reverse. We are currently making a corrective structure here. How far will this go here? So we're simply going to look for another leg to around these levels here. That is US dollar CAD. Right, so this is where we are with US dollar CAD. So like I said, this, don't expect it to just go down in a straight line. We may get this one pulling back slightly more before continuing to the downside. Okay, so that is a US dollar CAD. Let's go to AUD US dollar. Okay, let's go to the forecast on AUD US dollar. So the 4 hour on AUD US dollar, as you can see, we focused that we're going to get into the blue box and push to the upside. These are the structures that we've been looking at for the last couple of days. So we've got this as 3, we've got this as 3, we've got this as 3. We've come into the blue box, we've made a bounce. Is this ready for a move to the upside? The indicator is not showing us that we're going to get that. That is the structure and the sequence. We are here, but let's see here. Let's go back to the structure, the current structure. As you can see here, we've got a move to the upside. There doesn't seem to have much momentum. So 2 things can happen here. We can get this pulling back pretty deeply before it pushes to the upside, or we can get one more down here, back into the blue box before pushing to the upside. So we are not seeing the momentum to the upside here. As much as we have made a reaction from the blue box, it is not unlikely that this can make one more move to the downside and push to the upside. With that move coming to the downside with a new low and the divergence on the indicator. So do not rush into buying AUD US dollar right now. Okay, so give it a bit of time first. Let's wait for a bit of a confirmation here, because this is very likely to happen before we push to the upside. New Zealand US dollar. Right, so New Zealand US dollar. Let's look at the bigger structure here on New Zealand US dollar. So New Zealand US dollar, we have been saying that this structure is not good enough as it is. As much as this is now okay, we can accept it from the guidelines. This can still do this. We can still get a move to the downside. That would be even better for a structure to the downside, because then we will have 1, 2, 3 down, 1, 2, 3 up, and we'll have this one coming down here as follows with 3 waves. This one ending here with a 3-wave structure here. So we can have this as a WXY corrective structure, WXY here, as follows, with internals as follows. Very clear structure with ABC, 1, 2, 3 here, and then you have 1 that is ABC with this corrective structure here, and you get your ending diagonal here as follows. 1 more down, very likely, then we get a push to the upside. We are not on the blue box yet, as like the other structures, like the other pairs on New Zealand. As you can see, we're still missing the blue box. I do not think that we made actually trade into the blue box, but we can get 1 more down around that level to complete the diagonal before we push to the upside. That's why I'm expecting 1 more down here on Audi as well as New Zealand. US dollar ZAR, we've been talking about US dollar ZAR for some time. So as I've said, US dollar ZAR, the structure that we're looking at now, we are not only looking at it right now. I mean, we are getting a pulsing move to the upside right now, but from around these levels. From around here, we expected US dollar ZAR to come here and make a push to the upside. We only got this move, and when we didn't get that move, we realized that was going to make an 11 string sequence, WXY, XZ. So this move, we forecasted when this structure was building up here. We said this was going to come down here, take the low, upside here, downside here, and a move to the upside. If we go to the videos from around the 27th of January, 1 February this year, you will see that we forecasted that we're going to get a tag off this low here, a push to the upside, and we're going to retest 1350. What happened from here in February, we forecasted that move, played out around the beginning of June, and we are now getting all of these moves. So you can count the number of waves forecasted: 1, 2, 3, and we are now in this one. So just because we have got some fundamentals driving with the weakness of the ZAR against the US dollar does not mean that that is what is driving the market. We have seen this technically way before it happens. So usually fundamentals are just associated with what the technicals are already giving us. So this is US dollar ZAR. We're still expecting a push to the upside. As you can see, US dollar CAD is already pulling back. We should see at least a pullback here on US dollar ZAR. We can push to the slightly to the upside, get a corrective structure, but eventually we should still see weakness in the ZAR against the US dollar. Let's go through the pound pairs. You've already seen most of these during trade recaps. Let's go to the yen pairs rather. It's the yen pairs. So pound yen, what do we expect going forward? This was the blue box set up here. We've expected this to push to the upside from 49. What has happened? We have already pushed to the upside with that. So unlike the rather the US dollar pairs, the yen pairs look likely to give us continuation to the upside. We are seeing momentum to the upside here. Let's look at the lower degree structures here for our. So the yen pairs, we need to see a confirmation here. We need to get a corrective structure here. Whichever structure we get, as long as we've got confirmation and the trade set up there, we will look to take it up higher. That is pound yen, right? So we have reversed with pound yen from the blue box. As you can see, this is our blue box there. So that is our blue box here on pound yen. Let's just highlight it. So this is our blue box here. Okay, we've made a bounce there. Okay, so this is convincing, unlike what you have on AUD US dollar. AUD US dollar is not convincing. We can still see one more down. Right, US dollar yen. You've seen this during trade recaps. Let's have a look at it again. For our, what did we expect? We expected these from right at the top. We expected a three-wave pullback here and a move to the upside. We already got all of these moves, 1, 2, 3, and now we're pushing to the upside. We expect US dollar yen to continue to the upside. So as you can see, that is what the structure that we have. Let's switch off here so you can see only the structure. This is our US dollar yen, 3 waves. We're currently here, wait for a pullback and upside. Okay, so the pullback is not going to it's not necessarily going to happen at current levels. We may push slightly higher before we get the pullback, but we're still expecting more upside. Okay, so those who remember will know that we did not only focus this 3-wave pullback here. We looked at these to be a diagonal here on US dollar yen. So with that, we're looking for this one to be wave 1, 2, and a continuation to the upside. Now, this has now confirmed that we are now pushing to the upside. So a pullback here, look for more upside. Right, so that is our US dollar yen. Let me just go back one here so you can see here on the weekly. Okay, so if you look on the weekly, this is the reason why we did not expect, even when we were getting a pullback on US dollar yen. This is the weekly chart. We are looking very bullish as far as US dollar is concerned. US dollar yen is concerned. We're still looking for more upside. Okay, so that is the weekly structures, just to give you a perspective and why we are bullish US dollar yen. Right, let's go to euro yen. Euro yen from the blue box, 3 waves here in the white degree. You can see ABC corrective structure there. So we expected these to reverse from the blue box. These are the blue box setups that we've got here. So these are the setups that we've got in the week, looking for this from the blue box and the push to the upside. What has happened? Exactly as forecasted. Let's go to euro yen. So euro yen, we reverse from the blue box, inch perfect, not a peep lower, not a peep higher than the blue box. We are now currently here. So expect a bit of a push to the upside before any pullback for more upside on euro yen. CHF yen. Let's go to CHF yen. So CHF yen was still missing the blue box by a bit. Let's have a look here. So CHF yen slightly different, because what we have on CHF yen could be this corrective structure here. That is why we focus that we can have maybe a move back to around 2150 before coming down here and then upside. That is CHF yen. How is it playing out now? That is the structure that we have. We've got this corrective structure. 1, 2, 3, push to the upside, and then look for more downside. Okay, so that's what we have on CHF yen. CAD yen, you saw this one during trade recap. Let's have a look here on CAD yen. CAD yen right into the blue box, 1, 2, 3, and then looking for more upside. How does that play out? Let's go to CAD yen. This is where we are. We traded slightly lower than the blue box here, but that's okay. According to the guidelines, this is all right. And we are looking for these two push slightly higher, pull back, and continue to the upside. So if those that did not get the trades from the blue box will be looking for another ride after they pull back. All right, so that is CAD yen. Let's have a look at New Zealand and AUD. New Zealand and AUD are pretty interesting because if you look at the bigger structure here, you have got a textbook corrective structure here on the New Zealand, 1, 2, 3, one running flat here. Let's identify it clear. Let's switch everything off so we can just see the structures. Before that, let's look at the forecast. Then we'll come back to what we expect of the next move. New Zealand 4 hour. So as you can see here on New Zealand, we expected this to go into the blue box and push to the upside. Looking at this, so initially we're looking for this is another alternative, this to be a three-way structure, this to be a move to the upside and a move back here. I'll show you why the structure has changed there on the New Zealand, but this is what we're still expecting. Right, so let's go to the New Zealand here. Right, so New Zealand, you can look at this as a running flat here. These are 3 waves here. This is 3 with this running flat in the middle. This is 3, and this is 3. All of these are three waves within this structure. So this is a WXY corrective structure. Now we've played out this expanding flat. Now look for pullbacks here for entries. So you'll be looking for entries here and more upside. Okay, do not go and buy this because it's going to correct. You don't know how far this is going to correct, and this could push slightly higher before we get an entry here for more upside. Okay, so very clear structure on New Zealand. Now AUD yen, let's have a look here on AUD yen. Let's have a look at that. AUD yen 4 hour. So this is AUD yen on the 4 hour. Now, AUD yen on the 4 hour, if you remember, initially we looked at these to be a whole corrective structure. When this invalidated the blue box, that's when we realized that this is actually the orthodox top on this one. So when we identified the orthodox top, that's when we could see that the blue box fitted exactly the forecast, and that's how this has now reversed from the blue box, and we're looking for more upside there. Okay, so let's have a look at how AUD yen has played out. So this is the orthodox top here, and this is now our blue box with 3-wave corrective structure. We are pulling back to the upside here. We are not out of the woods just yet on this one as far as downside is concerned. We want to get that confirmation there and more upside. We should see the yen pair push to the upside in the next coming sessions. So we are reversing from the blue box on AUD yen, looking for more upside. Let's look at the commodities. If we're focusing upside on the commodities, the gold should continue to the downside. We are coming down here correctively with gold. Let's switch everything off here so we can see the structure. So if we're looking for upside on the yen pairs, gold should continue to the upside, to the downside rather, because they are inversely correlated. We've got 3 waves to the upside on gold. We've got 3 waves down here. We can get another 3 waves here and a structure like this on gold. So let's watch this way. We're still going sideways. We're not really showing direction here on gold, but we are looking more downside than upside as far as gold is concerned. Okay, let's just go look at the structure here on gold. So gold, we've got this in 3 waves. It's not going to go down in a straight line, does not necessarily have to go down in a straight line. We're currently here with gold doing that. So what we're going to have here is this corrective structure. This can even be a structure like this before we get that last down here. So we are sideways. So that is what we have here on gold. 3 waves down, can get this, can get that, and then downside. Let's go to silver. Silver looking for more downside. This is an invalidation level if we're going to push to the upside, but it looks very likely that we're going to continue to the downside on silver. We took the trade here on silver, forecast with a target here in the 2 weeks ago. So we are still continuing to the downside. We are putting back here. We're going to see silver continue to the downside. So there is a setup for continuation to the downside here as far as silver is concerned for the next in the next coming session. So that is the setup. We're still seeing this continue to the downside. It's not going to be this obvious. Everyone can see this. We can get this putting back here and continue to the downside. We're going to look at this to get to this level. That is silver. Let's look at platinum. Platinum, we have looked at this corrective structure here, looking at 1, 2, 3 and expecting this to drop. We're still expecting this to continue with the drop. Will it bounce here? It does not look likely that it will bounce. Why would we even expect a bounce here? That we can get a flat correction, but this looks impulsive enough to just break through here. So we are still bearish on platinum. Brent crude, you've seen this. Let's look at oil. You've seen the forecast on oil. Expecting this to come reverse here on the blue box and upside. We have traded as low as 68 on oil like that, but that is still within the blue box. That is why we're still expecting oil to continue to the upside. As you can see here, that is what we have here on oil. So we've traded lower than the blue box. That's fine. We are currently here. We have resumed the bullish move to the upside. As I indicated last week, the only thing that we've done here is invalidate that count, the impulsive wave count. We're looking at this as a diagonal 1, 2, 3, and looking at this as a 4. But because now we have traded lower than this, that count has been invalidated. Okay, so that is oil, but we are looking for this to be a continuation pattern and looking for more upside. The structure has been updated on oil. We're still looking for more upside. Platinum, you've already seen platinum, continuation to the downside. Even though we can get this pullback, that will just be for continuation to the downside. Those are the commodities. Let's look at the pound pairs. You've also seen the pound pairs during the trade recaps as well. Let's look at pound chief. Pound chief is interesting. Let's have a look here. Before I show you this structure, I want to show you the bigger one here on the daily, so you can see where all of this is coming from. So we have been looking for these on pound chief, 1, 2, 3 downside. Now we have been looking at this corrective structure to have completed here and look for this one to come down straight for a B. But what we're seeing here with the indicator is that we have got the 3 waves, but this is going to make a double correction. So which means we are going to get this, just bear with me here, showing this in the daily. You're going to see this on the 4-hour as well. So we have got these 3 waves to the downside. It came down in 3 waves and not impulsively. So what we are going to expect here on pound chief is another 3 waves. Whether this becomes a zigzag or a flat, doesn't matter. So that means we're going to see a bit more upside before we get that drop. So what is the expectation for the next week as far as chief is concerned is that we get, pound chief is concerned, is that we get a continuation to the upside here before we drop. Let's go look at that now on the chart. Pound chief, that is your setup on pound chief for the next coming week. Let's switch off this. So if you remember, this was a previous trade that played out inch perfect for about 300 pips. We're looking for this to continue with this move. So we were looking for this to have completed this structure 1, 2, and 3 all the way. As you can see here, we've gone down, but that 3 waves is not ready to play out yet. We've got the move to the upside. As I was showing you on the daily, we have got this now. Okay, so as far as the daily is concerned, it looks like we're going to have another 3-wave structure here. We can have it as a flat, we can have it as a zigzag, but essentially we are going to have this. And when we have that, that means we've got this corrective structure, WX and a Y, then we still have that coming to the downside. So for the next coming session, we expect chief to give us a setup for more upside and then downside. The structure has not changed. It's just that it's is looking likely to give us a double correction. That is pound CHF. Let's look at the rest of the structures. Pound AUD, you saw this during trade recaps. We're simply looking for this here. This is a 3-wave structure, 1, 2, 3 here. And internally here, we're looking at these 3 waves here. That is WXY corrective structure, W in red, XY here. It's going pretty slowly. This is not the kind of trade that you want to take here, because eventually we are going to get that dropping to the downside. So pushing up slowly. So look for eventual move to the downside. We'll look for that reversal there. That is a pound AUD. Let's look at pound New Zealand. So pound New Zealand, simply because pound AUD is still pushing to the upside, we're expecting this to continue to the upside before any reversal. So let's go to pound New Zealand so you can see that. So you've seen pound AUD is going up. It's going up very slowly. Pound New Zealand pushing to the upside simply because of pound AUD. So we can get this doing that and upside. Okay, so upside here to around these levels. That is pound New Zealand. Pound CHF, we've already gone through that. Pound CAD. Pound CAD, you saw this during trade recaps. The forecast from here to get a corrective structure here. We forecasted that we're going to get this pulling back here, moving up here and coming down. We are now making this pullback. So watch this pullback for continuation to the downside on pound CAD. So pound CAD looks like the only bearish one as far as the pound pairs are concerned, but that's not surprising because oil is pushing up higher. So the move to the downside could be because of the CAD strength. Those are the pound pairs. Let's look at the euros. Euro pound. Let's start with let's have a look here at what we forecasted. So you can see the forecast in the last 2 weeks has been almost 95% accurate. Let's look at the euro pairs. So euro pairs, so there's a difference between forecast and trade execution. So forecast, you can forecast up to 95% accuracy and trade execution up to 70-75% accuracy. Let's have a look at the forecast here on this one. As you can see, we forecasted that this was going to push to the upside here and then come down. Okay, so we've got that move. I'm going to show you the structure. Looks like a very interesting structure. So the forecast, as you've seen there, was for this to continue to the upside here, take the low and come back down. What is the implication on the rest of the structure? This is an expanding flat. We're coming down with this, so expect euro pound to continue lower here. We've come down here with the 3-wave structure. This is a move to the upside. We expect a 3-wave structure here as well. So the bigger structure here is this A, B, and we look for a C here. But for now, we're not going to worry about the C. We're looking for this to come to the downside. Internally, you've got 3 waves down, W, 3 waves up, X, 3 waves down, Y. If you want to take it further, you would even have this one looking like an A, B, C corrective structure, as you can see. We can go even lower, but that will be tedious. We don't do that here. We do that on the chart. So you'll see this on our 4-hour forecast. So we can even have that. So that will be a lower degree with the ABC corrective structure. We can give it even lower and lower and lower until we get to the trade setup. So we can see that this entry here will be in the green degree. We'll look for more downside. That is euro pound, very clear structure. Euro AUD, you saw this during trade recaps. We have got the trade here from here, pushed to the upside. We are now expecting this to start making a move to the downside. Okay, should retrace deeper before coming down. Euro New Zealand. So Euro New Zealand moved like that and then downside here. We are still within this structure here on Euro New Zealand. This structure has been in play from the beginning of March. We've been sideways since March up to date. We are not out of this structure yet, so we can still come back down here to the lower degree here, to the lower boundary. EURCAD. EURCAD, you saw this during trade recap from 2 weeks back. We forecasted the move from here, a move upside and downside. Look for this, just like pound CAD, expect this to be a deeper pullback and continues to the downside. EURCHF, long-term downside on EURCHF. So every time you get a pullback on EURCHF, look for sells. So we've got this one here coming down here. You can get one more down here, bounce. If you get a move around here, we'll be looking for a sell. Okay, so those are the Euro pairs. Let's go to the crosses. Okay, so something interesting here on the crosses. So I want to give you a perspective why we've just been saying that you need to sell this. You need to sell every time it does this. We are still selling Audi New Zealand. So let me just give you a perspective here on the weekly so you can see how we get this right. So if you look on the weekly structure, I'm going to come here and do this. So you will not understand what I'm doing here if you do not understand the rest of the structure. So this is how the rest of the structure is playing out. Let me just do this again so I can use the right colors. So here I'll still use yellow. I'll have 1, 2, 3 down. We'll have the purple here, like that. Now let's have a look at this structure. So what you have here is 3 waves down here. 1, 2, 3 down. You've got 3 waves up here. 1, 2, 3. You've got 3 waves down here. 1, 2, 3. You've got 1, 2, 3 waves up here. Oh yes, you can just right now you're just seeing here 3 waves, 3 waves, 3 waves. But how do they interlink to form a decent structure? So first here, this has been the move coming from the top here with a big swing to the downside. We'll have a look at that shortly. So that is the move. So after this move, we started with the corrective structure here that made this structure here A. So we are looking at the whole thing as a corrective structure. That corrective structure is incomplete. This is a B. This is a C. Okay. Right now, internally here within that B, we have got, I should have used a different color here, W, X, Y, X, Z. So that means your B is coming here in 11 swing sequence. This is why we have been selling these up to date. Every time I come here, I just say, look for continuation to the downside because I know what's happening in the weekly structure. It is absolutely critical to get this right. Now, you cannot just come here and say, oh, I've learned wave theory, I'm going to put in my labels. What if you are wrong from the higher degree? So if you are wrong, that means every time you come here, you're going to be getting it wrong. It's going to go against you every time. And with that, you cannot just look at the structure alone. And I keep talking about the indicator. It is absolutely critical because this is generated by a computer. You're coming here to put in the labels labeling and analyzing with the naked eye. So with the indicator, you can see exactly where the structure is going. So that is the why we have been selling this, and we're looking for this to give us this structure here. This is a 3-wave corrective structure. We're looking for this to go as low as 1.03, 1.02. Let's go back to the lower degree. So now you've got that. Let me just see here. Now you've got that, and that is your structure. That is your structure. So we're not going to worry about this and that for now. We're worrying about the next immediate move because that is what the indicator can tell us whether we are still on the right track on this or not. Let's go to the 4-hour. Look for continuation to the downside. So it goes again. While we're looking for that, we keep getting opportunities to sell this. And when we do that, we sell that with confidence because we know that the bigger structure is telling us that, and we're looking for that to go as low as 1.02. That is Audi New Zealand. The Audi pairs generally are looking weak and looks like sell setup. So look for this to continue to the downside. Now, again, if you see me do this, there's a reason behind that analysis. Okay, AUDCHF, look for continuation to the downside as well. So there are a number of setups on the crosses for continuation to the downside. Look for this to continue to the downside as well. New Zealand CAD. New Zealand CAD, again, you can see the strength in the New Zealand. We're looking for this to continue to the downside. This has now made this bigger expanding flat. We're now looking for downside here. Look for this to continue to the downside. Right, New Zealand Chief. New Zealand Chief, look for downside. The crosses are looking downside. Almost all the crosses are looking downside except for CADJPY. Why would CADJPY be strong? Because oil is strong and we've got this textbook corrective structure here on CADJPY. We've got 1, we've got 2, we've got 3 waves here. Now we're looking for this. Any corrective structure here, we look for CADJPY to continue pushing to the upside. Right, so those are the Forex pairs. Let's look at the indices. Looking at the indices, S&P 500. Let's clean this up a bit. Let's look at the indices. So let's have a look at this. Did you guys see the chart of the week? Before we go to the indices, chart of the week was DAX. If you had visited our website, you would have seen the chart of the week. And this is where the forecast came from the DAX. 1, 2, 3. We're looking for this to push to the upside. Where are we now with the DAX? DAX is here. It's currently around these levels. We're looking for this to continue pushing to the upside. Okay, let's go straight into the DAX. We'll start with the DAX today. I'm going to come back to the S&P 500. Let's look at the DAX. I'm showing you the DAX first because this was our chart of the week. As you can see, this is how the DAX has now played out. So we were here on Monday last week. We forecasted that we're going to push to the upside. Look at what we have already, a couple of points to the upside. We're looking for DAX to push much up, further up higher. Now, this is just now new confirmation that we're going to see more upside here on the DAX. Okay, so let's show you, that's the structure here on the DAX. Let's go to the rest of the indices. S&P 500, still looking for more continuation to the upside. So every time you get this here, look for more upside. Let me show you the daily here on the S&P 500 so you can see why we're still upside here. But eventually we are going to see a reversal. For now, we're still in wave 3. The reversal that we're going to see will only be wave 4, and then we still look for 5. And then we're going to look for this to only made the wave 3 here in white. So we're still very bullish for some time here. So we're not seeing the S&P 5 crashing anytime soon. If we see a big drop, it will just be a wave 4 in 3. And even bigger drop here will just be the wave 4 on the cycle degree. We're still going to see more upside on the S&P 500. So that's what we're looking at. Continuation to the upside on the S&P 500. So in the next coming session, we should see even 450, 500 on the S&P 500. We can see 500 soon. You can see 500 soon on the S&P 500. Dow Jones. So Dow, we had a setup here. We had a pullback here, but then we made this expanding flat. It's just confirming more upside. Any confirmation for upside here, 1 hour corrections, you can look to take it higher. NASDAQ, so the NASDAQ here, so if you look at the NASDAQ, let me go to the structure here on the NASDAQ so you can see where that is coming from. So the NASDAQ on the 4 hour, we are still bullish, and this is why. This is a leading diagonal starting with wave 1, pull back in 2. We are currently going for a 3, so this is still pushing to the upside. That is the NASDAQ, so we're still pushing to the upside here. So we're still going to see more upside. UK 100, from the last week, you saw the trade setup where we had this one here. We focused that we're going to have this move to the downside and then upside. We've made those 2 moves, and we expect continuation to the upside. DAX, we've already gone through that. Nikkei, let's go again to our charts. Very interesting. So the Nikkei is the only one that is showing weakness for now, but that is only short term. So we're still looking for the Nikkei to push slightly lower and push to the upside. The structure is this one here on the Nikkei. It's 3 waves down, 3 waves up, and 3 waves down before we push to the upside. So we're looking for that to complete the red Y before we push to the upside. That is the Nikkei. So look for this here and then upside. And lastly, the Nifty, continuation pattern to the upside. As you can see here, we've got a running flat. We're looking for more upside here. Any 1 hour correction, we'll see the Nifty continue to the upside. That's all that we have on as far as the Forex, commodities, and the indices are concerned. For the crypto webinar, look out for that on our channel shortly. And if you like what we do, please hit that notification button. Also, drop us a comment so we can see what your input is. We do value your input, and we'll appreciate you liking and sharing the videos as well. Have a great week and trade responsibly. Cheers, everybody. Bye-bye.